This is the week we've all been waiting for. Number 1 Oklahoma, number 5 Texas in the Cotton Bowl on Saturday. Hello and welcome to the Red River Week edition of OU Football with Jake Trotter. From the Dodge Sports Desk, I'm Deputy Sports Editor Mike Koehler. Here, joining me as always is OU beat writer Jake Trotter. Jake, let's start talking about this week's matchup. One of the biggest in the Stoops era for sure, but it seems like we haven't heard much about the offensive players for Texas. We hear about Colt McCoy, but other than that, we haven't heard about guys that we've heard in the past, like Roy Williams, Cedric Benson, guys like that. What's Texas going to be bringing on offense?
Well, they bring obviously McCoy, who's a Heisman Trophy candidate. Kirk Bowles from the Statesman said he should be the leading Heisman candidate at this point, the way Texas has played. So it goes to show what they think of him there. They bring in Jordan Shipley and Quan Cosby, who are two really solid wide receivers, probably better than they had maybe since Roy Williams is here in terms of a collective unit. They're playing very well as a duo. They really don't have anything after that at wideout. It's kind of, they're going to try to rely on those two guys. And I dare you to pronounce the leading rusher. It's like Onachikawa. But I think that Onachikawa is his name, but he's not even their primary guy. They have like 4 running backs that they rotate in.
McCoy's really their leading rusher.
Exactly. Right? So they have a number of guys that they'll use, and they kind of go with the hot hand, similar, kind of like the New York Giants in the playoffs last year. And but they're very good offensively. The offensive line is terrific this year. I think at this point last year, McCoy had more picks than touchdown passes going into the OU Texas game, and this year he has 16 TDs for 3 picks, and I think that's indicative of how they're protecting him in the backfield.
Let's talk a little bit about the OU defense. Like we were talking before, you had this really interesting thing this morning in the paper and on your blog about Ryan Reynolds, the linebacker, grading out at 100, according to Coach Brent Venables. Talk a little bit about that and just tell us how those guys looked against Baylor and just how OU's defense is coming along.
Well, the defense is coming along great. I mean, they did give up 17 points to Baylor, but they played really well when it mattered. I mean, it was 28-0 out of the gate, 35-7, I think, at one point. So they played very well. In the fourth quarter, they let up, I think, a little bit. Ryan Reynolds has been a big part of that. Maybe not so much as a guy who's just making every single tackle, although he's leading the team in tacklers, but he's a very cool, calm presence they have in the middle there. Makes all the calls for those younger guys like Keenan Clayton and Travis Lewis, so those guys can worry more about just playing instead of worrying about alignments. So that's been a big help. And then Reynolds is just technique-wise playing almost perfect, at least the past couple of games. He had a 95% at Washington, which was really impressive in of itself, and then to go to 100% against Baylor. I think that's indicative of how well he's playing right now. And also, too, he's healthier than he's ever been. He's not wearing any knee braces. He looks so much faster than he did last year. It's like night and day. So it's another positive for this team heading into Texas week.
What's the secondary going to have to do Saturday against Texas? Obviously, with McCoy, they're going to be similar to OU, I would imagine, pass more than run. So what's the challenge like for OU secondary?
Well, it is going to be a challenge. Like I said before, Cosby and Shipley are very good wide receivers, probably the best duo they face so far. And I would say Gilliard and Goodman from Cincinnati were very good too. So it's going to be a big test. They'll get beat deep. That's what they've done. They've been so good at is just playing spot-on coverage. And then also, too, tackling in space. When they catch a short hitch route, you go knock them down. You don't miss a tackle, and then that a 5-yard gain turns into a 25-yard gain. And that's the 2 biggest things that they have done so much better than last year is they don't miss any tackles and they don't get beat deep. And truthfully, that's been sort of the Achilles heel of this defense for a number of years is occasionally they have a tendency to get beat deep, and that hadn't happened this year.
Obviously, Saturday, one of the things we're going to write about the preview of the game is going to be this matchup between these 2 quarterbacks. 2 of a handful of Heisman Trophy favorites, 2 of the most pass-efficient quarterbacks in the country. Just compare those 2 guys. Compare Sam and McCoy. Sam obviously has the edge because, winning last year's game counts for a lot. Tell us about how similar those 2 guys are and how they look going in Saturday.
Well, here's a stat for you. Top 5 passing efficiency leaders in the nation. Number 1 is David Johnson from Tulsa. Number 2 is Sam Bradford from Oklahoma. Number 3 is Oklahoma State's Zach Robinson. Number 4 is Chase Daniel, Missouri. Number 5 is Colt McCoy. So you got the 3 Oklahoma guys, 2 of whom play the other 2 guys in the top 5, and Daniel McCoy. Should be just a terrific weekend of college football. But McCoy, he's not making mistakes. He's throwing everything on the money, just like Sam Bradford has this year. You don't become a top 5 passing efficiency leader without doing that. And, he's running the ball, too, which sort of, I think it forces the defense to at least give the running game some respect. So he's just doing it all for them. And, he's definitely a viable Heisman contender. I think right now you can make a case for Sam Bradford, Chase Daniel, Colt McCoy being 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about Sam a little bit. One of the things we were talking about in the office on Saturday was just the number of weapons that OU has. I mean, they've got 6 or 7. Sam's got 6 or 7 legit guys that he can throw the ball to anytime. Between Howard Glacius is playing and Manny Johnson and Broyles and Quinn Chaney, and you go on and on. Just to talk a little bit about how Sam's playing, because it seems like, just the past few weeks they have a huge first half or a huge first 3 quarters, and then they've been putting the brakes on a little bit. And how's Sam a part of that?
Well, first of all, a great stat, too, is they've scored a touchdown on their first 2 drives in every game this year. That's remarkable. I was talking to a friend from North Carolina last night who called me and then watched the game against Baylor and has been kind of paying attention to OU this year, and said Sam Bradford puts it on the money every single time he throws the ball. And I think that's clear. That's his biggest asset, is he doesn't make bad throws. I mean, he occasionally will, have a ball bounce off a receiver's chest into the air and he'll get it picked off, but it just seems like everything he throws is right on the money. And you don't see a lot of quarterbacks who display that kind of accuracy so early in their careers, but really just period.
Alrighty, thanks, Jake. Be sure to read all the stories from Jake and the rest of our coverage team during one of the biggest college football weekends in Oklahoma every day in the Oklahoman, and follow all of our online coverage, including Barry Trammell's special video series of Red River Memories, which begins today only on newsok.com.